Welcome, Traveler. And today we're going to be creating the background and details of the person that Aldrick Norwin, my D&D character, is traveling with in an upcoming D&D solo roleplay. For those of you that didn't see it, I created Aldrick in a previous video using nothing but dice and the oracle you see above me now. That oracle is a D6 table that answers varying forms of the question yes or no. It answers them with static yeses or static nos, but the inflection comes from ands or buts. So take the question, do I find a sword? Yes, and it's sharp. Do I find a sword? Yes, but it's broken. I have to come up with whatever the yes or but is on the spot. That is a very brief explanation on the oracle, and you can find a deeper dive in a previous video that I've already done on the MUNE system. Link in the description below. Next to the oracle, above me of course, is a dice tray linked to Roll20. I have a tablet off screen that I'll be hitting buttons that will essentially interact with that table, so let me roll some d10s to show you what that looks like. It brings up the last couple on screen. You can see them above me just so we can have a general understanding and you can see the dice with me. On screen is all the information we currently know about this person, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. This person was arrested during Aldrick's sting operation. Aldrick went undercover in his own organization essentially to try and bust people that were smuggling weapons into the kingdom he lived in. This person does not know Aldrick was undercover. Simply, this person was just caught up, escaped jail, and is trying to get to a new kingdom, unaware that Aldrick was the person that put this person in there. This person is heading to the new kingdom intent on warning that the smuggling operation has been discovered. So this kingdom is doing several things to destabilize Aldrick's current kingdom, and this person wants to go over there and warn them. Is that their only intention? We don't know yet, so we're going to go ahead and find that out. The rest of the details are going to be discovered right now with you in front of me. Well, the neighbor's smoke alarm just went off. That was interesting. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But let's go ahead and get started. So it's gone off like 3 more times. The first thing I want to do is add some details to this person so we can stop calling this person. So let's get the bases down. We're going to roll a d6. Even will be male, odd will be female. Let's go ahead and see which sex this character is. Female. This is a female character with a 3. We now know that Aldrick is traveling with a woman of sorts. What else can we gather from this? It went off again. Lovely. When I was setting up the microphone, the green screen, and all this stuff in front of me, there was one question that came to mind. I didn't really think on it, but I knew I wanted to ask the oracle, and that was, did this person have an official occupation? Was there a job? So we're going to go ahead and go to the oracle for that. 2. Dear God, it went off again, and I'm losing my mind because I'm trying to do this video. It was a 2. No, this person did not have an official job. As per the way we run MUNE, once it says no or yes, it's a static, we don't ask any more questions about this topic and we move further on. So, there was no official job. So one thing I do want to know, if she is going to the other kingdom to report, she obviously has some sort of contact. I want to know, is this woman trusted by the other kingdom? 6. Yes, she is trusted by the other kingdom, and she was planted here. So that leaves me with a few things on my mind. It was never really asked, but I'm just going off the assumption that Aldrick's kingdom, the one he is originally from, was primarily human. I say that because as I was working through the details of his character rolling dice, I never asked about other races, and he never learned another language, so that makes me think that it was primarily humans. We didn't have a lot of other fantastical races here. So I want to lean to it and say that yes, this person, this woman, was a human. Why else would she be planted here? But before I go further with that, I want to ask a question. Was she planted to assist in the operation? Well, let me clarify that up. The question is going to be, was she planted to assist in the operation. But what I mean by that, because I don't want to go too broad, is she's there to assist in the operation. But was she planted as a sort of, I don't want to say sleeper agent, but was she undercover in her own right? A spy, that's what I want to go with. Was she planted as a spy? Yes. So she was a spy working within the organization. Oh wow, I just thought of something crazy. Okay. She was planted as a spy, that's all we know, and she is assisting in the operation. Is she spying for a third party, not the other kingdom? No, she's not. And she's loyal to the other kingdom. Well, things almost got a little interesting right there, but we're going to go with what the dice say. They are our overlords after all. So, what do we know so far? She did not have an official job, but she was a spy. Interesting that a spy did not have an official job. So she was there as an... Was she a beggar? Technically that's not a job, but was she a beggar? No. She was not a beggar. But she worked in charity? But she lived off charity. No, she was not a beggar, but she lived off charity. She assisted in the operation. She has ties back there. Was she a high-ranking member in the smuggling operation? No. Okay, so she was simply there. Let's ask, was she a runner? Did she get things out? So was she a runner for the smugglers? Yes. I don't want to just ask something like, was she good at fighting? That's a little too cheap, and for those of you that have seen the previous Aldrick videos, you would know that Aldrick can't fight for crap. So obviously I'm hoping she can throw down, but I don't want to just guide the question in the oracle there. That's kind of cheating. So she was a runner for the smuggler, and she was a spy. Did she have other spies, or no? Was she sent with other spies to the kingdom? No. Obviously there were other spies in the kingdom, but what I meant is in this general area, in the smuggling operation in the city that Aldrick worked in. Another question that we're going to ask just to establish some background, did she previously know Aldrick personally? Let me clarify that. Did she know Aldrick personally through the smuggling operation? No, but they were aware of each other. Okay, so they knew each other. They knew of each other. Does she trust him? Yes, but she's suspicious. Maybe she's thinking it's a little convenient that Aldrick was able to... well, no, because he was captured. What would she be suspicious of? Obviously, she's got to know something. Maybe that's the reason Aldrick has a chance. Maybe his buddy gave her some bad vibes about it. Or maybe she thinks it's a little too convenient that her and Aldrick are able to escape. It doesn't have to be immediate. We just have to establish that she is suspicious of him. Maybe because he keeps vanishing while they're in jail cells, he keeps being interrogated. Yes, she thinks, hey, yes, he leads the operation, but why do they keep taking him and he keeps coming back? Him more than others, so we can go with that. That's why she's suspicious of him. Another question that has been on my mind. Yes, she's been sent in to spy, and you figure this, so we're going to go ahead and do the likelihood yes on this one, but we're going to ask, is she a human? By likelihood, I mean, we're going to roll 2 d6s and take the higher number. So, let me... 1, 2. Both 5s. She is a human, straight up. Well, shut that one down quick. Lives off charity, was a smuggler. Okay, was she stealing from the smuggling ring? I think that's unlikely, given that she was a spy, so we're going to go with 2 dice on that one as well. Solid 1. No, she was not stealing, and she was stealing for it? No, she was not stealing, and she was bringing in more goods. So that makes me think that, yeah, she's not a higher ranking member, but maybe she's going up. Hell, maybe that's how her and Aldrick were aware of each other. She was trying to impress him. Given that she was a spy and she's loyal, I'm gonna go ahead and ask, Is she a member of the other kingdom's military? No, but she was hired by the other kingdom. That's interesting. Man, that makes me think of some, like, clandestine Black Ops stuff, right? It's not official on record. They just hired her. Ooh, was she a mercenary beforehand or an assassin? God, there's so many ways we can take that. She's a spy. So we have to go with something that's not just, I'm a generic mercenary. But I mean, mercenaries don't just have to be sellswords, right? They can be mercenaries for other routes. But she's loyal to the kingdom. Okay, is she loyal because the kingdom has something over her? No. She's not loyal because the kingdom has something over her. She's hired, but she's not being forced to do this. She wants to do this, and she's loyal to it. Is she loyal because they're paying her a lot of money? No. No, and she's doing it for free. Interesting. Why? Does she have ties to an organization in the other kingdom? No. Interesting again. And there's an and there. Okay. And she operates on her own. Okay. Freelance assassin? No. Does she have magical ability? No. Is she just a freelance spy? Yes. But she's completely loyal. She's completely loyal, but she's freelance. If this job is completed, is the new kingdom going to hire her? Yes, and she will be working directly for the new kingdom's king. So we have it set that she's a spy then. For sure she's a freelance spy, which leads me to think stealth skills. But just because you're a spy doesn't mean you're straight up just gonna be a, dagger, rogue, assassin type character. There can be so many other things tied to that. You can lead so many different lives and personalities based off that. You just happen to be a spy. I mean, who's more likely to be a spy? The dude in the corner with the cloak and a knife? Or the wandering minstrel playing music? Probably the wandering minstrel if you played Dragon Age. Good game, by the way. Let's dig a little deeper and find out about her personality. Is she willing to get violent? No, she does not want to leave bodies behind. She's more of the type of person that will listen and go out, and that way, she's similar to Aldrick. I like that about her. Which would explain why she was just a runner, trying to earn her way up. That speaks of a higher work ethic to me, that she's willing to put in the work to get better, and to do what she needs to do. But why is she a spy? What life did she lead before she got sent to this new kingdom, or before she became freelance? She wants the protection of the king? She's freelance. Maybe she has enemies. Let's just ask that broad question. Does this spy have enemies? Yes. That sets that right there. She's doing this because she wants the protection of the king. She's completely loyal in that sense. Maybe she learned her loyalty by screwing someone else over. So she has her own things to worry about other than just the new king's kingdom. So let's ask this. Is she native to the other kingdom? No, but an adjacent kingdom. So maybe she's looking to set up a new life. That makes sense. You're gonna run from people who want to hurt you. You go somewhere else, like far away. A spy who doesn't want violence. So that makes me think, okay? And I don't just want to go cliche, but if you don't want violence, but you have some sort of stealth skills, maybe you were a former assassin and you don't want to get the attention of killing somebody. So was she a former assassin? No, and she wasn't a thief either. Let's just get rid of all cliches at once, right? I'm gonna take a second, readjust, see what we have so far. I want to ask if she is aware of other smuggling operations. No, and she has no idea they exist. I want to learn a little bit about her past. Before she was freelance, she pissed someone off. But she left the entire kingdom to do it, and she's seeking protection from a king. A neighboring king. Is she former nobility? Yes, but low nobility. You have a noble who really doesn't have a chance at any grandeur. They send you to go work at the church or stuff like that. But she didn't do that. She has no magical power. She doesn't... Well, we don't know if she believes in the gods. We can ask that now. Is she religious? Yes. So I get to go and learn about the D&D gods after this. That's going to be fun. We'll set up the character, and then I'll find a god that relates to what we have. Are her enemies upset over her own failure? No. Was she kicked out of an organization? No. Did she steal something from this organization? No. And she never stole. Makes me think she has her own set of moral codes. One of those people that is only bad because the way life makes it, right? Sometimes there are good people in bad situations, and I think that's what I'm getting from her. Did she kill somebody? Maybe? Yes, but it was self-defense. And after this person was killed, she fled. And maybe others twisted this to make that. So these enemies are after her for reasons that aren't even true. I like that. We'll go with that. Let me ask, is there one specific enemy that is causing this? Yes. And he's twisting the others against her. Interesting. Maybe that has something to do with her being in nobility. Low nobility. Is she related to somebody of high nobility? Yes. I like that background. She's noble, did something, is religious, did something with an organization, but she's not a thief. Was she employing this organization? No. Interesting. How did she get in there? What kind of organization is this? God, there are so many questions we can ask. It's not... I don't think it was an assassin organization, right? Was it a spy ring? No, it wasn't a spy ring, but they traded information. You know, this kind of sounds like Liliana from Dragon Age, now that I think about it. Spies, she doesn't really want to kill people, that's not her thing, but somebody in her organization, a leader, is turning the others against her, and they traded information. Maybe she was selling them information. I think that's where we can go. Was she selling this ring information? No, she wasn't selling them information, but trading information. Maybe, you know, this girl's ambitious. She's very ambitious. Maybe she's trading information, trying to raise her own station. And she learned things through doing that. She didn't have an official occupation beforehand. Even now, she's getting by on charity. Is this charity coming from the other kingdom? No. And it's coming from the current kingdom. That's crazy, because it's like the side character that's going to be going with Aldrick also doesn't sound like they have a bunch of combat skills. They were trading information with a spy ring. Which direction do we want to go? What kind of information did she give that screwed everything up? Has she been on the run for a while? Yes. Let's go ahead and say it's been, even will be months, odd will be years. Even. So she's been on the run for, let's say, D20 months. 6. She was on the run for okay. Was her original kingdom, is her original kingdom after her? No, but there's potential for it. Let's see. Did her actions cause her family's death? Yes. Yes, it caused their death. But what would the end be in that? And what? She doesn't want to kill people herself. Obviously, she's going to regret it, so I just can't say, and she regrets it. And her friends. Let's go with and her friend's death. Okay. She killed somebody. For revenge, her family and her friends were killed. And she went on the run. And she's helping this other kingdom because she can get protection from this kingdom. Especially the king, she has skills that the king would obviously find useful if she's been trading spy information. What did she learn as a noble? I know a lot of them learn instruments. We can go with that. Does she know how to play an instrument? Yes. It's part of the reason she was able to gain information, right? You want to talk to some interesting people, and the interesting people can sometimes play instruments. Did this organization teach her how to wield a weapon? Yes. Yes. She knows how to use a weapon and is good at it. So she's trading information. They were teaching her things. Is that... See, because I don't want to lead into her being good at combat. I don't want to do that. Let's ignore that question. Should we, though? The Oracle was already asked, so we'll keep it. They wanted her to know how to defend herself, of course. But she doesn't want to resort to violence. She doesn't like violence. I'm falling into my own trap of trying to ask the right questions without gaming the system. I feel like asking about the weapon is essentially to try to cover Aldrick, even though when I asked it, I wasn't thinking about that. But truth be told, every D&D class has a weapon, so I'm not really gaming myself in that manner, right? I don't think so. She knows how to use a weapon, and she's good at it. We'll let that weapon be decided by the class. If she knows how to play an instrument, my original idea, or my sudden idea, is to say she was a bard, but I think bards have magical spells, and she doesn't have any magical ability. I'll find that out when I take a look at the book. Do we have enough to say that's her background information? Can we write a small story off this? I don't want to dive into all these details because Aldrick is not going to know them. I am playing Aldrick. I'm not going to know them, right? This is surface information that I'm supposed to know and some background details so I can know how to portray this character. But I still want to leave a lot for Aldrick to discover in-game. But I think we have enough, right? Enough to generate a character, especially knowing that we have some background details where she came from, a bit of her personality. I think we have enough to put together an interesting character. So let's do that. Let's compile it and see how that sounds. Julian and Rachel Gale cared about nothing more than their status in life. Both strove for perfection. When their homeland went to war, Julian served with the hopes of becoming a legend. However, he was too much of a coward to achieve anything. He came home as he went, unknown and uninjured. Life would stay the same. But when the Gales had their first child, Malcolm, they knew this was their second chance at history. He grew up surrounded by soldiers and trainers. Battle was his purpose. Weapons were his tools. Malcolm was going to be a hero. It was his destiny, according to his parents. He was going to carry on the family name. Then, he was going to make it important. Julian and Rachel clung to this idea. They gave him everything, while ignoring their second child, Winona. She was a footnote to her brother's legacy. Malcolm would shine, while she was left to the care of elderly servants. They trained her for the sole purpose of earning some higher noble's attention. Stifled and discouraged, Winona followed her assigned destiny, until one of the servants showed her his old lyre. From there, music was everything. It gave her an outlet. It gave her cause. And best of all, it made her parents pay attention to her. Winona was useful now. She could entertain Malcolm's guests. But playing background music wasn't enough for her. Winona needed more. Hoping to break out of her brother's shadow, she took up the bagpipes and mastered them swiftly. Her parents hated it. Bagpipes weren't sophisticated. Their sound was a shrill cry for the uneducated. Discouraged, Winona returned to her lyre. She continued playing after Malcolm went off to combat. He faced the ears in battle, while she lost them to melodies. Composing was a war of its own, one she fought daily, until her brother returned a hero. Suddenly, like their parents predicted, the name Gale meant something. It meant that you were related to Malcolm. Winona found herself in deeper shadows. She played music in them. Though her notes sounded different, they lacked satisfaction and burned with contempt. Now a celebrity, Malcolm became a nuisance. He grew an ego from his admirers. Negligence came after. The whole time, Winona fumed from a distance. She hated the way he flaunted his wealth, hated the way he abused the newfound status, and absolutely hated the way they branded him a military genius. It didn't matter. Malcolm enjoyed the attention and surrounded himself with all sorts of important people. One of them was a priestess named Zara. Zara worked for a kingdom-independent organization. They brokered various illicit things, secrets included. And though she tried getting close to him, Malcolm kept her at a distance. Zara was a priestess. She couldn't properly mingle. Furthermore, he wasn't very religious. All offers of confession went refused. Zara couldn't get anything out of him. Frustrated, she was about to abandon the job. Then, she discovered Winona. The musician's contempt for her brother was obvious. It burned with jealousy and stifled ambition. Exactly the kind of things Zara could prey on. Under the false pretense of confession, the broker revealed herself with an offer. People didn't need to learn Winona's name for her to be successful. She could trade information for wealth and freedom. The tools were there, hidden within Malcolm's shadow. All Winona had to do was use them. All Winona had to do was say yes. She did. Several secrets later, and the brokers accepted her more than her own family did. Espionage was exhilarating. Finishing a job was euphoric. Chasing that feeling, and keen on proving herself, Winona doubled her presence in Malcolm's life. She looked for any reason to accompany him on a business trip, usually joining with the excuse of playing music for his contingents. Her guise of the starstruck sister worked well. Malcolm fed off the idea of her clinging to his fame. The ego only grew. People were interested in talking to her simply because she was Malcolm's sister. It worked to her favor. Charming by nature, Winona chatted anyone and everyone up. Those that wouldn't talk often caved to her newfound wealth. Either way, information tended to find its way to her. Following Malcolm had other uses. FaceTime with the noble class earned her invitations to perform at their gatherings. So, Winona branched off and was finally able to move on her own. She'd tour with her servants. They'd carry the burden or establish routes while she played the lyre. They'd do this for months, but each time, Winona was introduced as Malcolm's younger sister. Alone or not, his shadow always followed. Impressed by her work, the brokers gave Winona her first urgent order. Lord Sigwald was planning on advancing his troops to a city border. She needed to learn when his men were moving and how many there were. Securing a trip to Sigwald's castle was easy. He had worked alongside her brother and deeply respected the Gale name. But when she got there, no one would talk to her. Information dried quick, along with her patience. Desperate, Winona crept into one of the castle's forbidden wings. Stealth was never her talent, though, and her attempt to eavesdrop failed. Sigwald's guards beat Winona so close to death that she lost partial hearing in her left ear. The dungeon they threw her in afterwards was nothing compared to the cell in her mind. Laying on cold stone, with only the moon for company, regret overwhelmed her. She had been a musician once. Where had the peace brought by music gone? So much of her life was spent on anger, on feelings of inadequacy. Where had that gotten her? Ready to give up, Winona promised that, if the gods saved her, she'd turn everything around. She'd never be this weak again. Her prayer ended, and the cell door opened. The brokers had blackmailed Sigwald into releasing Winona, her treachery against him completely forgotten. Freedom renewed the woman's devotion to her group and to her gods. Once Winona healed, she took up combat training. The Gales learned quick, so weapons came easy to her. She likened battle to the rhythm of a song. No one would hurt her again. Doubling her efforts brought more information to the brokers. Winona traded enough secrets to earn her more than most of those in her division. This aggravated another broker named Beckett, who had never agreed with a noble woman's inclusion anyways. Another year passed. Malcolm crushed an uprising along the kingdom's border. This brought him to the king's attention. King Clovis Rel was looking for a new general. His picks came down to Malcolm and a young man named Gavin Luca. Gavin's father wanted an edge. The elder Luca had worked with Beckett on numerous occasions, mostly involving theft. This time, he promised the broker a great deal of coin and some influence if he could remove Malcolm from the running. It was an open secret that Winona fed her brother travel information. It was how he avoided multiple robberies and 2 assassination attempts. Beckett used this to his advantage. The broker hired bandits to harass a road the Gales were supposed to take on their way to an upcoming banquet. When news of roadside attacks reached Winona, she adjusted the route. This led them right into an ambush. Beckett had hired mercenaries. They were joined by his assistant, Yannick, who was tasked with planting false documents on Winona's corpse. These documents had a list of broker names and locations. They were addressed to someone she was supposed to meet at the banquet. The ambush came swift. Beckett's men outnumbered the Gales' caravan. Winona's servants were killed. And, to her surprise, Malcolm died defending her. She was able to escape with only Yannick on her tail. Fear faded easily, and she killed the man in self-defense. Searching his body revealed Beckett's work. Yannick's documents were written like they were a follow-up to previous information. It didn't matter if Winona survived. Beckett was prepared. Working with Gavin Luca, he had organized a raid on the broker hideout. It was a slaughter. Of course, manufactured luck ensured Beckett's survival. Those that escaped with him found proof that Winona had betrayed them. Word went out. She was a target. Sympathetic contacts revealed this to her, and she'd spend 6 months on the run. Road life was grueling. Alone and outnumbered, Winona raced for the country border. There, she met up with one of her foreign contacts, a woman named Nadia. Familiar with Winona's abilities, Nadia put her in touch with a man named Levin Drask. Drask led an undocumented military operation. It was created to destabilize a rival kingdom, and he was seeking several talented individuals to monitor the operation's performance. Nadia vouched for her, so Winona was offered a deal. If she monitored, reported on, and assisted a weapon smuggling ring for 1 year, she could return to Drask. He'd then guarantee her domestic military work and protection from the brokers. She'd have a new identity, with the ability to be anyone she wanted. All this, if Winona said yes. And she did. Implanted in the smuggling ring, she found herself running weapons through various checkpoints and into the hands of exhausted rebels. It wouldn't take long for Winona's natural drive to kick in. She'd funnel most of her money back into the operation, bringing these desperate people more weapons. This left her poor, but the rebels took care of her. Winona worked for 3 months, until the ring was raided. She wound up in a cell with her cohorts. The charge was treason, the sentence a beheading. Staring at the moon through iron bars renewed a forgotten fire. She still needed to report to Drask. Yes, it was early, but Winona figured that getting back to him showed dedication. She was even willing to monitor something else. The task became more urgent when Winona learned that kingdom officials were tracing where the weapons had come from. Wow. That sounds a lot better than Aldrick's story. It was supposed to be shorter, but let's be honest, as I was writing it, I had a lot of fun and just kept going. I really wanted to dig into her psyche with this one. For those of you interested, the god that she worships is going to be Lathander. He is the god of dawn and rebirth. I feel like that fits her character, simply because, everything that happened to her, every new experience came because she said yes, because she thought she was starting over. And that's what I want to really nail into. It reminds me of Fallout New Vegas, Begin Again. I had so much fun writing her that I went into the epic generator and created a visual rendition of her. I'll put that up on the screen so you can see what she looks like. I'm having a lot of fun writing Winona, and I'm probably going to update her from side character to dude-tagonist. Honestly, I would like to do a prologue with her during those 6 months when she was on the run. I feel like you can do a lot there, and it would really just be great to flesh out her character. After this, I'm going to be uploading a video where we define Winona's stats and how she is. I haven't picked a class yet, though I'm probably going to go with something like Fighter, just to balance out the party, shall we say, and it just seems like it fits. Yes, she's, you know, kind of like a rogue and a spy, but she doesn't have stealth skills. She is literally just good at fighting. It's in her blood, technically, if you want to say what happens with Malcolm. After that, we're going to do the live stream where we go ahead and build the world together, where we define everything. If you notice in Aldrick's video and in this video, I leave a lot to imagination. I left the things vague. This country, this organization, stuff like that, because they're not all named. We haven't decided where it's all going to be, and we're going to find that out very soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and you'll want to stick around for more. I've been Nick, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, I'll be in other worlds.